Welcome back to CIA Declassified. You know that feeling when you get a declassified document and it looks like a crossword puzzle solved by a madman with a Sharpie? That isn't an accident. That is a highly disciplined, deeply funded, and legally protected art form. Tonight, we examine the final decree. Within the halls of Langley, there's a process called sanitization. It's the ritual where the agency takes a document, one that might contain the world's most dangerous secrets, and scrubs it until it's safe for public eyes. But who decides what's safe? And what are they actually hiding under those heavy black rectangles? Grab your magnifying glass, folks. We're going behind the ink. Sanitization isn't just about hiding names. It's governed by strict protocols meant to protect what the agency calls the crown jewels. The primary legal shield is Title 50 of the U.S. Code, which mandates the protection of intelligence sources and methods. This is the get out of jail free card for the CIA. If a piece of information reveals how they know something, whether it's a bug in a flower pot or a spy in a palace, it gets the black bar. The agency utilizes the mosaic theory during sanitization. This states that even if a single sentence isn't secret, its combination with other sentences could allow an adversary to piece together a classified picture. Therefore, seemingly boring paragraphs are often redacted to prevent the mosaic from being completed. A quote from the CIA Review Board manual: "Sanitization is not merely the deletion of words, it is the structural preservation of national security. The reviewer must assume the reader is a hostile intelligence service looking for the glint in the shadow." End quote. There is a specific position called the Information Review Officer, or IRO. These individuals have the final decree authority. They are the gatekeepers who look at a document and decide if a redaction is a B1 for national defense or a B3 for statutory exemptions. The CIA has a historical review program. While it sounds helpful, declassified logs show that the sanitization of 25-year-old documents can take up to a decade. They aren't just checking for secrets, they're checking if the information is still politically sensitive. The agency often uses whiteout or masked redactions in digital releases. However, in the 1990s, they had a major blunder where they released documents where the text underneath the black bars was still searchable if you copied and pasted it into different program. That led to a very frantic final decree update. A quote from former DCI Robert Gates: "The challenge is to provide enough information to be helpful to the historian without providing a roadmap to our current capabilities. It is a delicate, often frustrating balance." End quote. Under the final decree guidelines, even the reason for a redaction can be redacted. If explaining why a word is hidden would reveal a secret, the agency issues a classified declaration to a judge, keeping the public entirely in the dark. The agency maintains a sensitive, compartmented information index. During sanitization, if a document touches one of these compartments, it often requires equity review from other agencies, like the NSA or the State Department, leading to the infamous redaction by committee. In the early days, redactions were done with actual tape and cameras. The sanitizer would tape over the text and photocopy the page. This created a second-generation document where the original indentations of the typewriter couldn't be traced by forensic light. The CIA uses specific redaction codes that appear next to the black bars, such as B1 or B3. These refer to specific clauses in the Freedom of Information Act that allow the agency to withhold information based on national security or specific statutes, like the CIA Act of 1949. There is a technique called bracketed redaction. In this process, an entire page is removed and a single sheet is inserted stating page 45 redacted in its entirety. This is the ultimate final decree, used when the very existence of the topics on that page is considered too dangerous for public consumption. A quote from a declassified internal memo: "When in doubt, the reviewer shall lean toward the preservation of the secret. It is far easier to declassify later than to attempt to retrieve a secret once it has entered the public domain." End quote. The CIA's redaction board once famously redacted a recipe for agency chili because they feared the specific ingredients might reveal the geographic location of a secret training facility where the meat was sourced. The final decree also applies to the CREST database, the CIA records search tool. Even in this public database, the software is programmed to automatically gray out certain search terms, ensuring that the public can't even look for the secrets they don't know exist. We've all seen the documents where 90% of the page is black. Those are the deep black redactions, and that's where the real mystery lives. The heaviest redactions in the final decree manuals themselves occur around the pre-publication review for former employees. Speculation suggests these black bars hide the name of front companies, the fake businesses the CIA uses to launder money and hide operatives. If the public knew the methods of how these shells are built, the agency's global financial web would collapse. There is a persistent conspiracy theory that some redactions are psychological markers. The speculation is that the agency leaves certain things visible while hiding others to steer researchers towards a specific false conclusion, a sanitized disinformation campaign. Historians speculate that redactions in 50-year-old files regarding the JFK assassination hide operational liaisons. Specifically, the theory is that the black bars hide the names of foreign politicians or journalists who were on the agency's payroll and whose families are still in power today. In the scientific and technical files, redactions are often theorized to cover reverse engineering. Speculation suggests that the CIA hides any mention of technology that was acquired from foreign crashes or unconventional sources, fearing that admitting they have the tech would confirm its origin. Some researchers believe the final decree includes a domestic sensitivity clause. The speculation is that the black bars hide instances where the CIA accidentally or intentionally monitored American citizens, a direct violation of their charter that they sanitized to avoid legal prosecution. Finally, there is non-human redaction. Speculation persists that any mention of UAPs or unconventional physics is automatically scrubbed under the B1 national security exemption, not because of the tech itself, but because of the source of the data in the sensor system that the US doesn't want the world to know exist. There is significant speculation that the final decree includes a protocol for ghost documents. These are rumored to be entirely fabricated files released into the declassified record to act as honeypots, helping the agency track which foreign intelligence services are monitoring their public releases. A common conspiracy theory suggests that the black bars in budgetary documents hide a black gold program. Speculation that the CIA maintains a secret currency or commodity reserve outside of Treasury control to fund operations that Congress refuses to authorize. Some believe the final decree governs the redaction of future history. The speculation is that the agency hides long-term sociological projections that predict the collapse of specific nations, fearing that the release of such predictions would actually cause them to happen. Is the final decree a success? If the goal is to prevent a national security breach, then yes, it is remarkably successful. In the history of the FOIA, very few sanitized documents have ever led to the exposure of a current active secret. A quote from a CIA spokesperson: "Our redaction process is the most rigorous in the federal government. We take our commitment to transparency seriously, but our first duty is the protection of those who serve in silence." End quote. The success of the final decree is also measured by its frustration. By making the process so slow and the redaction so heavy, the agency effectively wins by exhausting the researchers. This is known in the business as gatekeeping by attrition. One of the program's biggest wins for the agency occurred during the release of the family jewels documents in 2007. Despite the explosive nature of the reports, the final decree sanitization was so effective that it protected every single foreign agent involved, preventing a single diplomatic incident. A quote from David Robarge, a former CIA historian: "Redaction is a defensive weapon. It is the only way to allow the public a glimpse into the past without destroying our ability to function in the present." End quote. The art of the ink has led to some surprising breakthroughs in how the government handles information. Automated redaction software. The CIA helped pioneer algorithms that scan thousands of pages for key intelligence markers and suggest redactions, reducing the human reviewer fatigue. The Glomar precedent, a legal breakthrough that allows the agency to refuse to even acknowledge the existence of a document, a sanitization of reality itself. Digital watermarking, techniques developed to ensure that if a sanitized document is leaked, the agency can trace exactly which reviewer or terminal it came from. Metadata, the final degree led to the development of tools that strip hidden data from digital files, ensuring that the who, when, and where of a document is as hidden as the text itself. The final decree is the ultimate wall. It's the agency's way of saying, we'll show you the book, but we're going to hold the light. It reminds us that in the world of intelligence, the most important information isn't what they tell you, it's what they've decided you aren't allowed to know. Thanks for joining us. Join us next time as we examine the most famous sentence in the history of secrets, the Glomar response. We can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the information requested. Where did this phrase come from? It starts with a giant claw, a sunken Soviet submarine, and a reclusive billionaire named Howard Hughes. We'll look at Project Azorian again and the legal magic trick that changed the FOIA forever. Join us for the silence of the claw. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.